Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I would like to say a special thank you to you for conducting this hearing on a topic that is really critically important to me and the people that I represent. I represent a very rural district in California. As I'm sure everyone is aware, California has experienced some of the worst wildfire seasons in the entire history of our state just in the last couple of years, and unfortunately that situation is predicted to get worse, not better, as climate change exacerbates the decreasing density of the fuel sources. I have had the unfortunate experience of being evacuated out of my community several times due to wildfire risk. In the times that I've lived there, last year, in fact, we got an air show that we got to watch, as we had aerial assets put out a fire that came within about a mile of my community before it was finally stopped. So this is a really critically important topic for me. Mr. Gohler, thank you for the work that you're doing in Oklahoma. I was very interested in the parts of your testimony that concerned using technology to leverage the existing firefighting assets that we have. You were talking about its applicability to forecasting the severity of wildfires and the potential for them. But would like to talk about whether or not we've considered the use of technology to more quickly detect forest fires, because we have tremendous capability now, aerial assets that we can dispatch very quickly to get to nascent fires. But if we detect them early and we have a flame front that's like an acre, we can use those assets to quickly put those fires out. If we don't detect them and we don't dispatch them until the flame front is tens of acres or hundreds of acres, then we can't do it with just aerial assets. We have to coordinate with ground-based assets, and that allows the fire time to spread and get out of control. So I'm very interested in the possibility of using these new low Earth orbit satellites that have the resolution to detect with thermal sensors a flame front of less than an acre, and maybe pairing that with artificial intelligence to be able to distinguish between a large campfire and lightning hitting a tree. Is that something that you've considered, and do you think that that's a worthwhile effort?
Absolutely, and we do utilize the GOES 16, 17 satellites that the National Weather Service employs to do wildland fire detection now statewide. When we first started doing this in 2016, the satellite resolution, the detection capabilities was typically 2-mile accuracy, and now it's down to oftentimes within a quarter mile and even closer, and sometimes even able to detect a car-sized fire. So the use of those satellites and AI, coupled with AI, would be absolutely awesome to help you with detecting those fires while they're small, and then the aggressive initial attack to keep them small when they're able to do something with them is critical. So yes, if you can. The one thing with the system that we're currently employing in Oklahoma and using the National Weather Service, that is available in a number of other states. Not every state is using that, as we are. Our forecast offices, Oklahoma, Texas, and now Kansas, whenever they do detect a fire on the high to extreme days, they send us a text that shows us the location, shows us the nearest fire weather conditions from the Oklahoma Mesonet, which is a system of remote weather stations across the state. It gives us a map where the fire is located, and then also tells us how it was detected and some other basic information on that particular fire. We're able to get that information to the local responders, the emergency management, the fire departments, oftentimes before it's reported by the public to the 911 dispatch centers. Not only that, but the forecasting that they're doing allows us to pre-position those resources, because they base that on a probabilistic system as opposed to deterministic. And so as we see those systems developing, our forecasters, in conjunction with this Southern Great Plains Wildfire Outbreak Group, which would be transferable to your state as well, they show us within a certain percent, this is where the large fire occurrence will happen. 30%, 50%, and they dial that in to the point that we can have those resources pre-positioned for those quick initial attack. We've seen a reduction in those large fires in those areas because of that focused effort that we've had. So yes, it would be easily, I believe, to do that with California as well.
Right. Well, I think that, you know, a lot of the assets you're talking about are geostationary assets.
Yes.
With low Earth orbit, we have the potential of having much higher resolutions. And even with the drone technology that I know we've been testifying about, you know, I'm very encouraged about the possibility of having drone swarms, not sampling weather, but also detecting fires.
Yeah.
But I see I'm out of time. Let's continue to work on this issue.